Inside their own half, far side of play. Paul Parker is the man who's going to take it. Options somewhat limited. He's in no rush to take it, of course. Sticks eventually short to Gary Pallister. Another untidy ball from Pallister, and he's got a bit of defending to do now as Paul Wilkinson's breathing down his neck. To such an extent he's panicked, he's put the ball out of play, and Middlesbrough have a corner. The pressure in the early stages of the second half, and Paul Wilkinson is breathing down the neck of Gary Pallister. Middlesbrough moving forward in force. United are back in numbers, and Middlesbrough have a corner, and their vociferous support bursts into life. Corner to Middlesbrough, far side of play. Stuart Ripley takes it in swinger, headed clear by Brian Robson. Will it fall for Jimmy Pollock? Yes, it does. Intelligent play. He waited, he lobs it forward on an offside decision against Paul Wilkinson, which never was the correct decision from the linesman. The referee has said play on. He was in a better position than the linesman. Paul Wilkinson is about half a yard behind Gary Pallister when that linesman's flag went up. The referee having none of it, and Middlesbrough do have a throw. They've been forced back on the halfway line, mind you, to take it, as that ball was cleared from Peter Schmeichel up towards halfway line. Middlesbrough building steadily halfway inside the United half. Forced back towards halfway line though, where Brian McClare picks the ball up for United. Dispossessed, sliding challenge by Alan Kernaghan, ball out of play on halfway line. Throw to Manchester United. Paul Parker will take it, pinches a couple of yards. Referee saying OK, get on with it. He takes it short towards Neil Webb. On the volley from Neil Webb, halfway inside the Middlesbrough half. It's picked up by Ryan Giggs inside. Well, he was looking for Paul Ince, but instead he just found Alan Kernaghan. Robbie Mustoe back towards Jimmy Phillips. It was a poor ball, and Phillips has lost it. Neil Webb has picked it up, level with the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Chip ball back inside for Ryan Giggs, trying to go square to Brian Robson. Slice clearance from Jamie Pollock. Falls for Giggs again. First time touch brings the ball out to play to Neil Webb. Deep cross, up go the hedge inside the area. Headed clear. Falls for Dennis Irwin. Sliding challenge from John Hendry, picks it up. And Curtis Fleming comes away on the break for Middlesbrough. A yard in from the near side touchline. It's a poor ball from Fleming. Battling for it, Jamie Pollock. And the man who wins it, Brian Robson. Pollock out battles him. And then he's then brought down by Dennis Irwin. No attempt whatsoever to play the ball from Dennis Irwin. Pollock in full flight. His ankles were unceremoniously taken from underneath him. John Martin is asking if he's okay. I think he's just winded. And Martin doesn't even have a word with Dennis Irwin. Well, work that one out if you can. A free kick to Middlesbrough. At least Middlesbrough have that much out of it. Halfway inside the Manchester United half. 10 yards in from the near side touchline. Alan Kernaghan runs to it, stops, runs to it again, takes it deep, back post. Good header from Gary Pallister, picked up by Neil Webb. Chip ball forward towards Brian McClare as United build very quickly up towards halfway line. Has he overrun the ball? No, he hasn't. Brian McClare picks it up, feeds Ryan Giggs. He's got a yard of space into which to run. Takes on Jimmy Phillips, skips past him, tries to bring into play Paul Ince, but overhits the through ball. As the rain becomes even more incessant. It's that awkward, horrible, nasty drizzle which soaks everybody to the skin within 2 or 3 seconds of coming into contact with it, and it's blowing directly into the faces of 9,000 Middlesbrough supporters. It's a United break, but not for much longer. Middlesbrough have a free kick. This time the referee has penalised Brian Robson and Lee Sharp. A combination of challenges on John Hendry. A free kick to Middlesbrough. Quite what on earth Brian McClare is doing standing over the ball at the moment, I don't know. He's told to get away 10 yards. He obliges, and all the noise you can hear in Old Trafford at the moment is from the Middlesbrough supporters who are trying to lift their team to an equaliser. At the moment, the 1 goal down. The free kick comes in now. It's inside centre circle, but it's picked up by Robbie Mustoe. He goes square towards Jimmy Phillips. Phillips' options are limited. A chip ball down the line, looking for Paul Wilkinson, headed clear by Paul Parker. Picked up though by Robbie Mustoe. Mustoe sideways towards Jimmy Pollock. Pollock, options again limited. A mud-spattered face of Jamie Pollock goes sideways to Curtis Fleming. Powerful header coming in from a through ball from Curtis Fleming. That was from Bernie Slavin, straight to Peter Schmeichel. Wastes no time, against the wind. Kicks it, one bounce into the hands of Stephen Pears. He's quite a remarkable goalkeeper, Peter Schmeichel. Can almost throw the ball as far as he kicks it as well. Proceeded to kick it all the time tonight though. The ball is on the halfway line. A shade inside the United half. Sharp turn from Ripley. Gets a yard, 2 yards on Paul Parker. Battling, twisting, turning, edge of the area. Bernie Slavin with a chance. And Slavin has equalised for Middlesbrough. Bernie Slavin has equalised in front of 9,000 ecstatic Middlesbrough supporters. 5 minutes into the second half. A red flare signals the Middlesbrough equaliser. It came from Bernie Slavin, Stuart Ripley outpaced Paul Parker. A low cross, a hard cross, and Bernie Slavin from the edge of the 6-yard box makes it Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. Old Trafford erupts to the sound of 9,000 Middlesbrough fans. The United faithful are stunned into silence. Peter Schmeichel right-footed towards the far side of play. Thumped clear by Jimmy Phillips. Now we have a game on our hands. The ball is on halfway line. Paul Parker towards the edge of the penalty area. Headed clear by Alan Kernaghan. On halfway line, picking it up for Manchester United is Neil Webb. A yard in from the far side touchline. Brings into play Ryan Giggs. Ripley comes back to cover. Giggs retains possession of the ball. Skips past two challenges and thumped clear by Alan Kernaghan. A deflection of Ryan Giggs and Middlesbrough have the throw.
Well, I think if we die tonight, Gordon, we'll die happy just with the memory of that run from Stuart Ripley. He said to Paul Parker, who's an England international, here's the ball, try and take it off me. Ripley steaming down the line, stopped, sold Paul Parker the dummy, the cross came in, and I make that the first goal in 1992 for Bernie Slavin. What a time to get it, what a match we've got in our hands.
And what an atmosphere as Ryan Giggs tries to get beyond the reach of Alan Kernaghan. He stands firm in the challenge and goes back towards Stephen Pears. 52 minutes into a pulsating cup tie. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. The atmosphere is electric. Middlesbrough win a loose ball, edge of United's penalty area. Slavin picks it up, back towards Jamie Pollock. Pollock tries to run through a brick wall. He's dispossessed by Paul Ince. United break quickly halfway inside their own half. McClare peels away. He will get to that ball first. Alan Kernaghan is going across to try and cover. And that's good work from the Middlesbrough skipper. That's back into the hands of Stephen Pears. Manchester United 1, the goal from Lee Sharp on 30 minutes. Middlesbrough 1, the goal from Bernie Slavin on 50 minutes. A goal kick from Stephen Pears. Paul Wilkinson feels the forearm of Steve Bruce in the back of his neck. A free kick to Middlesbrough, edge of centre circle. Middlesbrough will take the free kick. If you can hear above the din of these Middlesbrough supporters. Alan Kernaghan takes his short towards Curtis Fleming, and Nick 1-2 just breaking down the edge of the area, but Middlesbrough retain possession. A chip ball forward from Curtis Fleming, overhit. Peter Schmeichel is in all sorts of a hurry now to get this free kick taken. United were quite happy to let Middlesbrough fly at them in the early stages of the second half. But Schmeichel takes it long. It doesn't go too far this time, and it's missed by Brian McClare. It's picked up by Robbie Mustoe, who plays in Jimmy Phillips. Under pressure from Ryan Giggs halfway inside his own half, but gets a long ball forward. Flicked on, but picked up by Gary Pallister. One bounce, thumps it forward. Headed clear this time by Alan Kernaghan once more. Kernaghan, this time Nicky Mohan gets in on the act as the ball comes flying back towards Middlesbrough. It's bouncing loose halfway inside the Manchester United half. Put out of play under pressure by Jimmy Phillips. Hello, the linesman standing a yard away has given a throw to Middlesbrough. Well, Brian McClare doesn't like that. I would suggest he curbs his tongue. The referee is now flying across to have a word. I'm not quite sure what he said from this distance, but whatever it was none too complimentary. Middlesbrough have the throw halfway inside their own half. Flicked on by Jimmy Phillips, put out of play by Paul Parker. Middlesbrough gained around about 20 yards or so with that particular manoeuvre. They're now around about 10 yards inside their own half. The United fans respond from the Stretford end. Come on, you Reds is the cry. Come on, the Borough is from the scoreboard end at Old Trafford. We have yet to get an official attendance. I would put an estimate on it of around about 45,000 or so. Whatever it is, the cacophony of sound is quite incredible. You'd think that Old Trafford was custom built for acoustics for the football game. The ball is at the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Brian Robson wins it, tenacious in the challenge, but overhits the ball. Out of play, a goal kick to Middlesbrough. 9.5 minutes into the second half at Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. It's almost impossible to make yourself heard. Lee Sharp on 30 minutes for Manchester United. Bernie Slavin on 50 minutes for Middlesbrough. Stephen Pears, right footed with a goal kick, right down the middle, flicked on by Paul Wilkinson at the expense of Gary Pallister, but headed clear by Steve Bruce. United building very sweetly until a clattering challenge from Jamie Pollock completely wipes out the challenge of Ryan Giggs. So was it Lee Sharp? Lee Sharp, in fact, it was, when he pulls himself to his feet. A free kick taken with a moving ball. Referee saying play on, Manchester United have the advantage. That's not the point, it shouldn't have been taken. It is though, up on the edge of the Manchester United penalty area. Paul Ince has pushed it too far. Should be simple, but Kernaghan panics, puts the ball up towards Neil Webber to the area, chip ball inside the area, slice clearance from Kernaghan. Corner to Manchester United. 10.5 minutes into this second half. You need nerves of steel to be in a crowd such as this evening. If you're a player, a commentator or a fan alike, tremendous atmosphere at Old Trafford. Corner to Manchester United, far side of play. It's an outswinger, it's deep, it's headed clear by Alan Kernaghan, flicked away by Bernie Slavin. If John Hendry gets there first, Middlesbrough could break. But John Hendry's foot was somewhere by the throat of Paul Parker. There's all sort of remonstrations towards the bench down here as United take a throw, possible substitution for Middlesbrough, but the ball is still in play down by the corner flag deep inside their own half. Neat footwork from Ryan Giggs, retaining possession, skipping past the challenge of Jamie Pollock, and then eventually drags the ball out of play. Again, they're saying to the detriment of Ryan Giggs, and the supporters are not too pleased. But a standing ovation for Stuart Ripley as he is forced to leave the field of play. One wonders if that's a recurrence of his hamstring strain. Stuart Ripley, you can hear the accolades from the terraces away to my right hand side. But Stuart Ripley comes on, and on comes Willie Falconer, his first game of football for Middlesbrough Football Club in a first team capacity. It's 28th of September. The League Cup against Bournemouth in the second round. The first match Middlesbrough played in the competition was the last match Willie Falconer played for Middlesbrough. He's back here at Old Trafford tonight, 12 minutes into the second half. Middlesbrough still to take the throw. Certainly not from where Jimmy Phillips is, but he's got away with it and throws it up towards halfway line. Flicked on by Paul Wilkinson. First time touch from Bernie Slavin isn't a good one. United have a throw, 2 yards inside their own half. Acrobatics from Ryan Giggs. Thumped clear by Willie Falconer. His first touch, straight to Gary Pallister. Pallister, right footed and long. The ball bouncing over, going to get to the area. Curtis Fleming is turned by Lee Sharp. They're back in numbers of the blue shirts for Middlesbrough. And Jamie Pollock thumps it clear as Lee Sharp is face down in the mud on the penalty area after a 50-50 challenge with Jamie Pollock. I rather fancy both sets of trainers are going to be called out the field of play, and possibly both are going to be sent back again, although the Middlesbrough physio has actually got to the edge of the penalty area. And is he going to be used or not? Who knows? Don't forget there is another game in this area tonight. We'll bring you the West Brom Hartlepool score just as soon as we can get it. Last time we heard it was West Bromwich Albion 0, Hartlepool United 2. Any updates, Alistair?
Well, rather sadly, they're still playing at the Hawthorns. I say sadly because West Bromwich Albion have now reduced their arrears with the goal in the 84th minute. Paul Williams, West Bromwich Albion 1, Hartlepool 2. So Hartlepool still on course for 3 points. We have our reporter there. They're in the dying stages of the game, obviously, but we will bring you the full-time score just as soon as we have it. I hasten to add Hartlepool is still leading, but their advantage has been cut. West Bromwich Albion now 1, Hartlepool 2.
Into injury time possibly in that game. We are just 14 minutes into the second half of this one in Old Trafford. An 8 o'clock kickoff, remember. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. United with a throw deep inside Middlesbrough's territory. 3 yards up from the corner flag to be precise. Irwin gets the ball back, sends over a deep cross towards the back post. Free header, Paul Ince well over. Willie Falconer was back marking Paul Ince, and Paul Ince pulled a yard away. Falconer has taken a position of wide on the left in Middlesbrough's midfield. Straight swap therefore for Stuart Ripley. Conditions continue to deteriorate. Rest assured the Middlesbrough fans will be absolutely soaked, I would imagine, by this stage. At the moment they couldn't care less. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. Flicked on by Paul Wilkinson into the path of John Hendry, but Dennis Irwin is alive to the danger and goes back towards Peter Schmeichel. Schmeichel, right-footed, high, again lost in the floodlights, comes down, flicked on by Paulins towards Brian McClair. That's a poor back pass, but it just manages to get through to Stephen Pears. The Hearts were in the mouths of the Middlesbrough travelling support on that occasion. Stephen Pears, right-footed along, headed clear by Gary Pallister, picked up by Bernie Slavin. Neat footwork from Slavin, takes him past the challenge of Dennis Irwin, but not that past of Lee Sharp. That's a good work from Curtis Fleming. And Fleming has been penalised for a challenge, I think, for the push on the back of Lee Sharp on that occasion. The Middlesbrough supporters are taunting their United counterparts with cries of "you're going out with the city." I think that's possibly a little bit presumptuous at this stage. 15 minutes into the second half, Rumbelows League Cup semi-final, second leg, perfectly poised. Middlesbrough 1, Manchester United 1. The goal for Manchester United after half an hour, Lee Sharp. The goal for Middlesbrough, 50 minutes, Bernie Slavin. Gary Pallister has the ball for Manchester United, halfway inside his own half in a central midfield position. Goes sideways about 10 yards to Steve Bruce, then he threads it right through the middle of Middlesbrough's midfield. Brian McClair trying to bring it to play Paulins. The good work from Robbie Mustoe, gets the ball back to John Hendry. Hendry turns away from the challenge of Lee Sharp and then has his heels clipped as he tries to get the ball through to Paul Wilkinson. Middlesbrough will have a free kick, 10 yards inside their own half, although the referee has actually overruled the linesman and has given a free kick to Manchester United. Not quite sure what that was for, but we'll play on anyway. Nevertheless, Lee Sharp has the ball, a yard in for the near side touchline. It's Dennis Irwin, goes back towards Steve Bruce, a couple of yards inside the Middlesbrough half. Hugging the near side touchline now is Dennis Irwin, a chip ball forward. Good work from Paul inside towards Lee Sharp. Sharp is trying to get the ball beyond the reach of Alan Kernaghan, but firm in the challenge was Nicky Mohan coming across the cover, and that ball goes out of play. We gather they're still playing at the Hawthorn. There's still plenty of injury time down there. Still 2-1 to Hartlepool. Still 1-1 here at Manchester United as they begin to build on the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area, but Jimmy Phillips brings it away and has time to take it up towards halfway line. He's a yard in for the far side touchline, comes in field. Paul Wilkinson's come back to get the ball and goes back towards Alan Kernaghan. Something of the momentum is lost at Middlesbrough's attack. They're now on the halfway line, a yard in from the far side touchline. Jimmy Phillips has it, goes back again. Alan Kernaghan, chip ball forward, trying to get Middlesbrough moving. Flick header from Willie Faulkner, nobody up there supporting him. It's easily cleared. Full time at Hartlepool, we believe. West Bromwich Albion 1, Hartlepool 2. Great win for Hartlepool. Manchester United building. Long ball down the line, flicked on towards Lee Sharp by Dennis Irwin, but that's good covering indeed from Nicky Mohan. Grown in stature in the second half is Nicky Mohan. Back towards Stephen Pears. Just to reiterate the full-time score at the Hawthorns, a fine win for Hartlepool. Those 2 goals for Paul Dalton have done the trick. West Bromwich Albion 1, Hartlepool United 2. Paul Dalton after 4 and 70 minutes. Peter Schmeichel, right-footed along for Manchester United, flicked on by Brian McClair to nobody in particular. Giving chase to it is Paul Parker. He's not going to get there. 15 yards inside the Middlesbrough half. Jimmy Phillips will take the throw for Middlesbrough. Phillips, well, that's a poor throw from Phillips. It's headed clear quite easily by Gary Pallister. Picked up on the halfway line by Paul Parker. Almost fitted that ball through to Ryan Giggs, but the ball is put out of play. Level with the edge of his own penalty area by Alan Kernaghan. The throw to Manchester United will be taken by Neil Webb. Acrobatics on the edge of the area lead to a chance for Lee Sharp. He has Curtis Fleming in front of him. Fleming stern in the challenge. The ball is picked up on the near side of play by Dennis Irwin. Out towards Lee Sharp, yard in from the near side touchline, level with the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Cutting past the challenge inside of Dennis Irwin. Irwin's away. Irwin's clear. Irwin has his shot saved on the line by Stephen Pears and thumped clear by Jimmy Phillips. But Dennis Irwin with a combination of Brian McClair carved through the Middlesbrough defence. The Middlesbrough again have to defend because that throw's taken quickly. A chip ball forward, flicked on but headed clear by Jimmy Phillips, and Middlesbrough with a chance to break, although the first time touch from Paul Wilkinson sends him a yard too deep inside his own half. John Hendry, thumping challenge in the back there by Lee Sharp, and Sharp retains possession of the ball, and the challenges are flying in thick and fast. Robbie Mustoe puts the ball out of play for Middlesbrough. throw into Manchester United, but Middlesbrough rather worryingly carved open again down the right side of that defence.
Yeah, it's a cracking cup tie though, but Middlesbrough just caught, again I mentioned the first half about the wall ball type of pass, the 1-2, and Curtis Fleming was pushed in, and so too was John Henry, but Borough with possibly a break on here.
Paul Wilkinson chasing, so too Pallister, and hits the back pass. Wilkinson with the ball bouncing towards the goal. Schmeichel gets there just in the end. But that was rank bad defending from Manchester United. There wasn't a chance on, as Alistair was saying, a possible break. That's all it was, a possible. There was nothing else to go for there. Paul Wilkinson merely chasing back after the ball. An underhit back pass from Gary Pallister. Wilkinson got a touch onto it, and Schmeichel gathered at the second attempt. United break towards the heart of Middlesbrough's defence. Oh, and that's a bad foul. And that's going to be interesting to see how the referee reacts to that. Brian McClair was going clear. Jamie Pollock pulled the shirt almost from the back of Brian McClair. It's getting a little bit ugly towards the edge of the area. Brian McClair is being pushed away. Now then, was Brian McClair going towards goal? Was he moving away from the goal? If the referee's interpretation is that he was heading towards goal, then Jamie Pollock will walk. If his interpretation was that he was heading away from goal, it will be a yellow card, which is brandished. Everybody is being pushed away from the situation, which involves John Martin and Jamie Pollock. John Hendry comes a little bit closer to see what's happening. A stern lecture is being offered, and the yellow card is brandished. The boos from the Stretford end, the relief from the Middlesbrough supporters. But United do have a free kick. It is in a direct line with Stephen Pears' right-hand post. It is no more than 3 yards out from the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Needless to say, every blue shirt is back behind the wall. John Hendry, Bernie Slavin, Robbie Mustoe, Paul Wilkinson, Willie Falconer, they're all in a line. Curtis Fleming is watching the overlap from Dennis Irwin. Alan Kernigan has peeled away to watch the forward run, presumably of Brian McClair. Irwin up to the ball, curls it well over. The oohs and the ahs unnecessary. Looped it, always going a yard over.
I think just a little word for the sporting element of the United supporters in front of us here. They said, don't send him off, ref. If we're going to win the game, we want to win it fair and square, because young Jamie Pollock has run daft for Middlesbrough in the midfield. He's chased her out after international players. His face has been muddy the number of times he's been down on the turf there, and McClair was heading away from the area anyway.
I just wonder if we were going to see a substitution with Jamie Pollock being replaced by Mark Proctor. Sliding challenge halfway inside the Middlesbrough half, near side of play, throw into Manchester United. Brian Robson takes it, the twist and the turn from Lee Sharp, and the challenge from Curtis Fleming. The ball is back out of play. A throw in to Manchester United level with the edge of Middlesbrough's penalty area. Back towards Dennis Irwin, a chip ball forward first time, good headed clearance by Alan Kernigan, headed back inside the penalty area by Brian Robson, headed clear again by Alan Kernigan. The ball is out of play, and it's going to be a throw to Middlesbrough. No, it isn't. It's going to be a throw to Manchester United. The substitution for Middlesbrough is going to be made, and Robbie Mustoe it is, who's coming off. Obviously a recurrence of his groin strain. A brave effort from Robbie Mustoe. Not certain to start the fixture this evening, and it is straight midfield for midfield swap as Mark Proctor, the voice of experience, comes on, and Robbie Mustoe rather gingerly walks away down the tunnel. United break. Dip shot from Ryan Giggs from the edge of the penalty area, but dipping a little bit too late. Dips over the top of the crossbar and in to the Stretford end. The scoreline is perfectly poised. Middlesbrough have used both their substitutes. 23 minutes into the second half. Rumbelows League Cup semi-final. Second leg, Middlesbrough 1, Manchester United 1. Continuing commentary, Alistair Brownlee.
Thanks, Gordon. Middlesbrough trying to break over on the far side. Gary Pallister ending that one. Knocking it back quite quickly. Jimmy Phillips offside against Paul Wilkinson. The size of the crowd instantly this evening, 45,875. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. Lee Sharp, the edge of the area. Curtis Fleming, cool, back towards goalkeeper Stephen Pears. Then Fleming jogs away. Pears looked to him for the option, but Fleming wasn't quite ready. So Stephen Pears now right-footed and deep inside the United half of the field. Paul Wilkinson flicked back, and Steve Bruce getting the interception. De course centre half Gary Pallister booed and then cheered a little bit by the Borough travelling support as Gary Pallister's attempted clearance spliced off the outside of the boot. Gives Middlesbrough throwing right in the halfway line. That's something you expect from a man you paid £2.3 million for. Middlesbrough halfway line. Jimmy Phillips, long ball towards Paul Wilkinson. Wilkinson lays it back into the path of John Hendry. Hendry tries to attack the area. Square ball goes in, and Steve Bruce clears it up towards Curtis Fleming, right in front of our commentary position here. Middlesbrough's right-hand side. Curtis Fleming drives the ball on, and cleverly left there by Brian Robson. This goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel was always going to get possession. And Schmeichel moving towards the edge of the area to underline that full-time score from the Hawthorns. The great news: West Bromwich Albion 1, Hartlepool 2. Paul Dalton, a couple of goals have given Hartlepool 3 vital points in their battle to get up amongst the Division 3 promotion playoff places. Here at Old Trafford, it's all about a Wembley place. April the 12th, the date with Destiny and Nottingham Forest, as United Middlesbrough got it, hammer and tongs. United on the attack. Lee Sharp to Ryan Giggs. Giggs flick header into the middle, and Middlesbrough somehow push the ball round to there for a corner. The referee, John Martin, to the astonishment of the crowd, says that Brian McClare got the final touch on that one, and hence it's going to be a goal kick for Stephen Pears to take in front of the Stretford end. And Pears began his career, as we know, at Old Trafford, a firm favourite. He tried to make himself at the early stage of his career. He just had, 4 league appearances for Manchester United. In one of those, he saved a penalty. Still couldn't make it. Went on to Ayresome Park. Now he's defending as United break forward. Ryan Giggs. Giggs being watched by Jimmy Phillips. Giggs was surely pushing Jimmy Phillips there. Free kick for Middlesbrough, despite the protestations of the fans standing behind the linesman over on the far side, the United terracing area. But it is going to be a free kick for Middlesbrough. And both Middlesbrough substitutes have now been used, of course. Willie Falconer and Mark Proctor coming on. Robbie Mustoe and Stu Tripley have been withdrawn from the action, whilst there's a bit of illegal coaching going on down there. Alex Ferguson chatting to Dennis Irwin. Good-natured, we're assured by the linesman that it is. And Stephen Pears clears it long. Drain drives down at Manchester. Middlesbrough drive on with possession towards the United area. John Hendry. Hendry neat back heel, offside flag raised, near side. Couldn't quite see that one. The din, the crowd, the referee allowing play to continue. He couldn't see the linesman's flag as United charge forward. Stephen Pears dives out of the goal to clear this one, almost towards the halfway line. Good distance on the clearance from Borough's goalkeeper. And Dennis Irwin is now going to take a throw-in. In fact, he might leave it for his skipper, Brian Robson. But Robson gives it back to Dennis Irwin. And Irwin is now going to take the throw-in. The number 3 for Manchester United as the watch ticks on. 26 minutes of the second half have gone. United giving possession to Middlesbrough. A crude sliding challenge by Steve Bruce in the back of Paul Wilkinson. And that was a nasty one. That's a painful one. And Bruce gets just a pointing by the referee, John Martin. It could have been a yellow card. Not that we want to see the game littered with yellow cards. The referee, to be fair, in poor conditions out there, has tried to allow the game to flow, tried to guide between what was a mistimed tackle on a tricky surface, what was illegal intent. But I think there the yellow card could have been raised for Steve Bruce. Borough's top scorer, Paul Wilkinson, 19 goals to his credit this season, the bargain of the season, says Lenny Lawrence. It'd be even bigger bargain if you could get Middlesbrough to Wembley. He gets up off the turf very gingerly. Borough have no other option but to carry on the rest of the game and possibly extra time with the 11 players that are on display. Both subs have been used. Middlesbrough free kick. Alan Kernigan is going to take this one. Drops to the head of Brian Robson. He heads clear. Ryan Giggs skips round a clumsy challenge, but then loses out. Does Borough have the possession with Jimmy Phillips? Phillips is tackled by Paul Ince, and according to referee John Martin, Jimmy Phillips was doing the handoff. I couldn't quite see that one, but never mind. Referee gives the free kick. Brian Robson takes it quickly to far side. United building now with Ryan Giggs. Giggs is tackled and harried and hunted by Middlesbrough's players, but it breaks for Paul Parker. Parker, opportunity to move down the right-hand side. Threaded on towards Lee Sharp. Sharp taking it almost to the corner flag as the red wave attacks towards the Stretford end. Cross coming in now, but it's a poor one. But a clear on the edge of the area. Try to move away. Could have a break on if Bernie Slavin can push forward a halfway line. That was a poor pass from Dennis Irwin, but nevertheless United getting out of trouble. Near side, midway inside, Middlesbrough's half the field. Dennis Irwin's cross comes in to the D on the edge of the area. Borough knock it clear, but Steve Bruce picks up the possession. Bruce to Irwin. Irwin's pass was even worse. Jamie Pollock now, muddy. Borough through and through, charges forward, tackled by Dennis Irwin right on halfway line, and Brian Robson spins and turns and passes it to Paul Parker. far side of play. Parker deep into Borough territory as United now attacking Stretford end, picking up the pace. Ryan Giggs towards the edge of the area, might try a shot, but the boot is outstretched. Instead, a shot coming in from Neil Webb that takes the deflection, and United now have a corner which their fans turn to inch up those decibels just a touch. And United's corner is going to be taken by their goal scorer this evening, Lee Sharp. The game finally poised. Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. Lee Sharp for United and Bernie Slavin for Middlesbrough. Lee Sharp to take this corner and to swing it in left-footed at the Stretford end. In it comes now to the 6-yard box. Steve Bruce gets a touch on. Pears down on the line, makes the save. Steve Bruce got the connection, which was a bit of a worry for Borough, as they tried to pick up central defenders inside their own area, but Stephen Pears went down. In all honesty, there wasn't the power in the header of Steve Bruce. He got the direction, but didn't get quite the neck muscles behind it. And Stephen Pears now clears, drops midway inside the United half of the field. Back header from Paul Wilkinson, which goes out of play despite the dash and the hope of John Henry that he was going to catch it. Manchester United have the throw-in directly in front of our commentary box, which is just inside the half of the field. Middlesbrough attacking. There's a long ball scooped forward towards Paul Wilkinson. Wilkinson couldn't get there. Dennis Irwin can. Halfway line. Middlesbrough trying to pick it up, and neither side able to get constructive possession. Mark Proctor to near side, and Curtis Fleming. Good ball. I was going to say good ball down the line, but it was neatly intercepted by Dennis Irwin. Infield now to Neil Webb. You can barely see the number 5 on the back of the shirt of Neil Webb. He's been involved in the thick of things. Towards far side, Paul Parker. And Parker's pass for an England international is dreadful. Schoolboy stuff. Straight out of play, far side. And Middlesbrough are not going to complain. They have a throw-in midway inside their own half of the field, their left-hand side, which is going to be taken by Jimmy Phillips. And I wonder if it's going to be warmer than this on April the 12th at Wembley Stadium. We wonder about that one, but it's certainly hot on the pitch. Both sets of players going at it, having and tongs really, to try and get into the final of the competition. 1-1, neatly tied up. As United now attack towards their favoured Stretford end. A right-footed cross comes in, half cleared. Miscue clearance, in fact, from Nicky Munn. It breaks to near side of play, and Dennis Irwin feeds it down the line. And good twist, good turn from Ryan Giggs. Still has possession. Might try to attack the byline. Curtis Fleming sticking to his heels, and Curtis Fleming doing very well. He was on the floor, but he got it clear. And John Henry, the referee, tried to give advantage, but Henry had been caught. And Middlesbrough have their free kick, and there is 14 minutes of action left. And it's still Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1.
The difference between potential and experience, perfectly exemplified there. Ryan Giggs, he'd beaten Curtis Fleming. He should have gone away from him. He stopped on the ball, tried to beat him again. As soon as John Henry picked up the pieces, he ran right across Ryan Giggs. The only way that Giggs was going to stop him was to bring him down. That's exactly what Ryan Giggs did. Inexperience from the Manchester United player. Good as he is, he still has a little bit to learn.
It is, after all, his first full season though here at Old Trafford. He's done very well. He's a man for the future, Welsh international footballer, of course, and he's now watching the players over on the far side. Bit of a lonely watch from Ryan Giggs this near side towards the far side, and watching Middlesbrough charging forward. Jimmy Phillips far side. Good run from Phillips, brought down Izino, says the referee. United have the ball on the edge of their own area with Steve Bruce and Gary Pallister. Pallister towards halfway line. Middlesbrough trying to snap at the heels of the more illustrious opponents. Not quite getting it though. Scoop ball forward. Alan Kernigan, arms outstretched, watching it back towards goalkeeper Stephen Pears. The Stretford end are quiet, and the travelling support got a little bit quiet, it must be admitted as well. It's been a noisy, it's been an exciting Old Trafford. It's a wet stage out there on the pitch, but the fans love it to see the players sliding and giving everything. Commitment 110% as Middlesbrough have a throw-in. John Henry wins it for Borough, just a shade away to the right-hand side from the position we're looking at. Middlesbrough's right-hand side, but attacking towards the end of the ground, housing the travelling support. They could daft if they could manage, Middlesbrough that is, to go into the lead, but John Henry goes down, and Brian Robson, the captain for Manchester, brings it away. Paul Ince now. Ince, great ball to Lee Sharp. Sharp, near side. A couple of United forwards are there, but Alan Kernigan slid across in the interception, and Lee Sharp just showed too much of the ball. I wonder how much the pitch is going to take out of Lee Sharp, because he has had that nasty injury problems. He's just come back to United's first team. He could be getting a bit tired, but remember, Manchester do still have their two subs to use, Mike Phelan and Mark Robbins. Borough have used both of theirs. Manchester attacking far side. Ryan Giggs' pass was poor. Slide tackle in from Jimmy Phillips. He claimed a Borough ball. Manchester United are going to have this one, and moving across There's plenty of red shirts to aim for. It throws towards Brian McClare inside the area. But I claim it's gone across the line for a goal kick. It hasn't. It's come back inside the area now. Neat footwork from Ryan Giggs, showing it, teasing it. Chip ball comes in. Pears dives down to collect. And good work from Ryan Giggs on the ball, but the final execution was a bit poor. And Stephen Pears able to calm the Borough defence down and get them to move away from him. And I wonder if the rain stopped just for the minute. I think it might have done. It's poured down ever since kick-off. And Middlesbrough get a flick on. John Henry. Henry might get beyond Irwin. Henry could get the ball in the back of the net. Here has it gone in. Gary Pallister off the line. Oh, Gary Pallister stopped Middlesbrough possibly going to Wembley. John Henry scooped it in. And Gary Pallister on the line stopped it. Middlesbrough will not get closer to Wembley. John Henry, excellent work. Got beyond fullback Irwin. And Pallister denied him. Middlesbrough attacking, far side. Will a cross come in? It does so. Up goes Paul Wilkinson. Up goes Peter Schmeichel as well. And Schmeichel gets it. And the Borough travelling support wonder why that ball didn't roll in. Gary Pallister was on the line to stop it. Far side, Paul Parker. Parker just rolls it down the line, and United try to prise Middlesbrough's back four open, but it's a dreadful ball. Now this could be the key to it. There are 10 minutes left, and Middlesbrough fans are yelling, and United supporters are getting a bit disgruntled. And I remember the words of Lenny Lawrence: if there are 10 minutes left and we're level, let's see what happens. Let's watch it. Paul Wilkinson goes up in the air, possibly was pushed by Steve Bruce. Referee allows play to continue. Willie Faulkner tries to put pressure on Paul Parker, far side. Ryan Giggs now turning away from Jimmy Phillips and running midway inside, but it's half the field. Shows too much of the ball to Nicky Mohan. And Willie Faulkner now has it close to left-hand touchline. Down the line he goes, and Paul Parker has possession though. Yard inside United's half the field to a man a yard inside Borough's half the field. Brian Robson working 1-2 with Steve Bruce. And Robson just outside centre circle now has the possession. Robson and United going backwards a little bit. They're not getting very far forward, and the crowd aren't liking it. Jamie Pollock trying to put some pressure on Gary Pallister, but United do still retain that possession. They're moving down Middlesbrough's left-hand side. An opportunity for left-footed centre to come in, possibly to the head of Lee Sharp. He gets the knock on. It's laid back, but just outside the D on the edge of the area is Mark Proctor. Proctor times the ball forward superbly, and Borough could have a real break on here. Bernie Slavin to Paul Wilkinson. Wilkinson just outside the area. His legs wouldn't carry him. The shot was poor, and Schmeichel makes the save. And now Manchester United move forward. And Brian Robson, this is like watching two boxers at the end of the 14th round. They've been going at it hammer and tongs. Which one will go down and which side will go through to Wembley? Manchester United, far side. Neil Webb with possession towards the edge, the D on the edge of the area, working 1-2s, coming back to Webb, might try a shot from distance, hits it, Pears makes the save on the line. Oh, that was a good save. And that ball dipped and dived, and Pears had to watch it, and Pears made the save, and there's now 9 minutes left. It's 1-1, and I just wonder who's going to get that knockout blow.
There's so much good, intelligent football being played in so tense circumstances out there. That was a lovely chip from Neil Webb. Fully 20 yards out, saw Stephen Pears a yard up his line. Pears backpedalled and gathered the ball well. A slippy, greasy ball, he held it very well. Credit to John Henry for the chance a couple of minutes ago when he got beyond the reach of Steve Bruce, and in between he and Peter Schmeichel. A good little chip from John Henry, which is all he could do. He did well, so too did Gary Pallister. The irony of Gary Pallister clearing that ball off the line. His former team denied a route to Wembley, perhaps.
Yes, you wonder sometimes who writes the scripts for football matches. Long clearance forward, might drop there into the path of Bernie Slavin, doesn't do so. Mark Proctor, the referee claimed, was pushing and shoving, and now that Manchester United have their free kick, there is going to be a substitution. Lee Sharp is coming from the field of play, and Mark Robbins is coming on. Now Mark Robbins is an out-and-out striker. He's in dispute with the club. He wants to transfer. He's also got the cleanest shots of anybody on the pitch, so the man bound to be able to pick him out for centres. But Lee Sharp had scored that goal on 30 minutes to give United the advantage. Will it be a first touch for Mark Robbins? It is. Edge of the area. Can't quite get the shot in as the drive comes in just behind him there from Brian Robson, which goes way, way wide. I think the boot ended up nearer to the goal than the shot. And Brian Robson goes to collect it from in front of the Stretford end. Bit of humour in the game as well. And both sets of supporters applauding each other. And Manchester United fans rousing their voices a little bit. I think what they can see is the electronic scoreboard trying to give the result of the QPR Leeds United game, which of course has a direct bearing on whether Manchester United will win the First Division, which is their prime aim. But I think they've enough on their plate in the League Cup. Here at the moment is Mark Robins, switches the ball to far side, and Paul Parker, as Brian Robson still tries to put his boot on. Paul Parker rounds his skipper, puts the pass in, can't get beyond the referee. Middlesbrough charge forward, Alan Kernaghan to Paul Wilkinson, back it goes to the muddiest man on the pitch, Jamie Pollock coming forward, scoops it towards far side. Middlesbrough have a real attack on here, just outside the area. Chip ball comes in, Willie Faulkner dives in with a header, it goes wide. There was two Borough players behind him. Paul Wilkinson was there, Alan Kernaghan as well. Faulkner tried for glory, but if he'd left it, Borough would have scored.
If this match has been full of them, one in the first half, if Jamie Pollock had crossed, Paul Wilkinson was free. If Willie Faulkner here had managed to not gone for glory, so to speak, and left it to Paul Wilkinson, there was a better header there. Just trying to quantify that full-time score from Loftus Road. We believe it to be Queen's Park Rangers 4, Leeds United 1. We can actually confirm that it is that score. An astonishing scoreline considering Leeds took the lead. QPR 4, Leeds 1.
It's Manchester United now attacking the area. Ball goes through. Could be a shot in here. Goes wide by an inch. And Manchester United could have gone into the lead there. Brian McClare inside the area. Shot went in. And that shot went wide. An inch from Stephen Pear's right-hand post. And Middlesbrough are breathing very deeply indeed. There are 5 minutes left at Old Trafford. Let's just clarify the rules of the competition. If it is still level, we'll then move into extra time. If it is level at the end of extra time, there will be no penalties this evening. We'll then move a week from tonight to Hillsborough Stadium, Sheffield Wednesday's ground, for another game which may then go into extra time, and then, only then at the end of extra time at Hillsborough, if it is level, would there be the dread of penalties to decide it. It would be a shame if it got to that stage. It has been a fine match between these two sides, and Manchester United now have a free kick, a yard inside the Middlesbrough half of the field, and Steve Bruce is about to take it, and every player bar Peter Schmeichel is inside the Middlesbrough half of the field. United's red shirts moving forward towards Stretford End. Steve Bruce takes the free kick. Up goes the head of Willie Faulkner. Gets it clear. Mark Proctor tries to get the knock on as well. Jamie Pollock wins this one. Middlesbrough chance to break and bring it to near side. Pollock to Curtis Fleming. Fleming tries to time it forward perfectly. Bernie Slavin on to John Henry, the latest flag I've seen all season. That linesman stood and watched there as John Henry picked up the ball, ran towards the goal, and then he stuck his flag up. I wonder about the rules that these linesmen play to sometimes. Near side of play. Round goes Ryan Giggs. Giggs is tackled by John Henry. Enjoying this one hugely. The Soccer Special, Radio Newcastle, Radio Cleveland. 1-1 at Old Trafford. Still to be decided who goes on April the 12th to Wembley Stadium to play Nottingham Forest. Peter Schmeichel inside the penalty area. The Danish international goalkeeper is about to clear this one. A right-footed drops. Alan Kernaghan tries to pick up the possession. Willie Faulkner has it. Faulkner on in turn to Jamie Pollock. Pollock round a couple of challenges. Then to near side. And John Henry, Borough players, peeling ahead of Henry. Henry's cross goes in now. Maybe for Slavin. Schmeichel comes out and dives to the penalty spot and collects. And John Henry wonders why his centre didn't quite reach Slavin. And we're now 3 minutes away from extra time at Old Trafford. And far side, Manchester United have possession. Moving forward, just a couple of yards or so from the halfway line. Knocking it back, and then eventually the long ball drives on to Mark Robins. Robins steals the march. Stephen Pears comes forward as the Borough travelling support urges every one of the following here to sing up and keep the noise level going to encourage their team forward, because surely if a side were to score now, it would be Wembley Stadium. Curtis Fleming, halfway line. Fleming to Bernie Slavin. Slavin treks back a couple of yards or so. Alongside him, he has John Henry. But Slavin is being watched there by Ryan Giggs, and Slavin lost possession. And Brian Robson, halfway line, is half tackled by Curtis Fleming. Fleming dives in again, but United get a break on here. Ryan Giggs, near side. Giggs centre, goes in. Surely this is Stephen Pears. It is. And Stephen Pears, watch that one. And Middlesbrough have got to watch it as well. Carried away they might be to try and get the winner, but the back door is not going to be left unbolted, as the saying goes, and Curtis Fleming caught out of position there. Long clearance from Stephen Pears. Paul Wilkinson tries to run forward for this one, but Steve Bruce is surely going to turn it back to Peter Schmeichel, but Wilkinson's putting pressure on, and down goes Steve Bruce, who won't appreciate that muddy face at this stage of the game, and he rolls out of play. And good work from Paul Wilkinson. He's been the lone striker for Borough this evening, and the referee insists that a free kick is given whilst he has a word with Paul Wilkinson. And Peter Schmeichel now moving towards the edge of his penalty area, and I think the fans here would be happy. 45,875 to get an extra half an hour's entertainment as Middlesbrough defend on the edge of the area. Mark Robins looked for an opportunity. He was a bit clumsy, but eventually got there. The ball, that is, back towards Stephen Pears, and Pears is about to clear this one right-footed and drop inside the United half of the field, where Gary Pallister rolls it alongside him to Dennis Irwin, who swapped over. The fullbacks have swapped, in fact, coming towards near side Paul Parker, far side Dennis Irwin. Middlesbrough sliding in the challenger's far side, skipping around a couple of loose ones. The run is on from Falconer. Bernie Slavin then has it. High ball forward, which is very poor. And as we said, the fullbacks have swapped over. Dennis Irwin wearing number 3, but he's moved to the right back position, as Paul Parker has come wearing number 2 to left back, and the throw-in just on the halfway line. Manchester United trying to prise up for his defence, but that's a loose ball, and Stephen Pearce has it.
Interesting tactical switch from Alex Ferguson there. What he's done is he's put most of United's pace down their left-hand side, obviously Middlesbrough's right. That is Paul Parker, a very, very quick fullback indeed, and Ryan Giggs as well, purely to try and get at what he sees as Middlesbrough's weak spot, which is Curtis Fleming.
To be fair to Curtis Fleming, he has gritted his teeth and he's got on with it, and he will not have played on a bigger stage than this. And he's trying, he's keeping an eye now, he's watching out the corner of his eye every move that Ryan Giggs makes. Fleming is concentrating hard, and Middlesbrough concentrating now as we move into injury time, stoppage time. At the end of this game, as Gary Pallister knocks his free kick and Alan Kernigan clears it. Brian Robson can't quite get it. Middlesbrough trying to get a break on Bernie Slavin. Slavin's watched by Steve Bruce, and Bruce to far side, and Dennis Irwin. 1-2s are worked. Eventually it's knocked inside Borough's area, half cleared. Paul Ince tries the shot. Pears is there, and Stephen Pears gets possession, and Middlesbrough move out. And at this stage you don't know really what you want. You don't know whether Middlesbrough to break away or the game referee to keep playing the game or to move into extra time. I think the crowd were quite willing to see this game move into extra time. They've been hugely entertained on a very tricky surface as Steve Bruce then turns it back towards Peter Schmeichel. As referee John Martin checks the watch, checks with both linesmen, and Peter Schmeichel moves out towards the edge of the area. A right-footed clearance comes now, drops midway inside Borough's half the field. Alan Kernigan can't quite get the full boot on it, but Jimmy Phillips-Meadow, he's playing a dribbling game in a dangerous part of the field, but eventually helped out by skipper Kernigan. It goes back towards Stephen Pears. Middlesbrough's 3 across the front line: Paul Wilkinson, Bernie Slavin and John Henry. Stephen Pears clears this one, right-footed. John Henry pushed surely there by Paul Parker. Referee saw nothing wrong. United's Brian Robson with possession to Mark Robins, just inside centre circle. On in turn to Neil Webb. United's last throw of the dice possibly coming forward. Good overlap on the far side from Dennis Irwin, but Irwin just overrun the ball, then his cross comes into the side netting. And Middlesbrough have the goal kick, and we're 1 minute and 19 seconds into injury time, stoppage time at the end of normal time. And we are moving towards the situation of extra time, and Middlesbrough have their goal kick taken, and Stephen Pears gets it back. And I guess when Stephen Pears clears this one, it is going to be the end of the game, or it's normal time, and we will move into extra time. Yes, referee John Martin brings proceedings to a halt. That is extra time, and we will of course continue with extra time here at Old Trafford. But to underline the full-time score from the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion 1, Hartlepool 2. Paul Dalton's couple of goals giving Hartlepool United crucial 3 points, and the possibility still remain for Hartlepool United, of course, for a playoff position at the end of the season. But the full-time score for Old Trafford: Manchester United 1, Middlesbrough 1. Lee Sharp 30 minutes for United, Bernie Slavin 50 minutes for Middlesbrough. And the reason that we're now moving into extra time, and I can see down there manager Lenny Lawrence and John Pickering having words, and John Pickering's took Jamie Pollock to one side and having a word with young Jamie, and he will be my picture that I will take away from Old Trafford into my mind. Will be Jamie Pollock. His face is muddy. He looks like some waif and stray that's just come off Mill Hill School after an afternoon playing football, and he has run himself daft for Middlesbrough Football Club, and he deserves every one of the plaudits and the pats on the back. Meanwhile, the international players are gathering around Alex Ferguson. inside centre circle and trying to G each other up. They do have one option left. Mike Phelan is the sole sub, not used as yet, as Gordon Cox is trying to